This video is going to show you another solo GM for the weekend, this time on a prismatic Warlock. Now, we're using an exotic primary again in this, like we did on the Titan, in this case Le Monarch. The reason for that is because all legendary primaries are rubbish in this. They're basically all of them. There's only a couple that might be half decent. And because of the nature of the boss, it's worth your while to put an exotic primary on, whether it be Revision Zero, Wish Ender, or Le Monarch. Those are your top picks, in my opinion. Everything else just sucks in this. Legendary primaries, your run's going to be 10-15 minutes longer if you don't run an exotic primary in this. And the plot thickens. There's something funky going on with Storm Chaser. I think it might be doing more damage than intended. I'll talk more about this as we go on with the run. So we're using Rhymecoat Rymant, right? The reason for that is for AI boss manipulation at the end, because of how awkward that boss is. Rhymecoat Rymant kind of has a band-aid for that solution of the boss being so passive. Two champs in mid, very easy to take out with Rhymecoat Rymant. Here we go. So capturing the payload progress. Queen Breaker Bow snipers will spawn to your left or right. If it's left, stand right. If it's right, stand left of the payload. Use cover. Now we're going to get a Devour Chain. Pop a super if you want to. Do not feel guilty about it. I'm using Stormcaller just for the low cooldown. I don't even actually recommend Song of Flame in this, because you don't get it that much, and I mean, it's decent in this, but because of how the boss fight is and everything, and you're fighting from a range and stuff like that, then the lower cooldown super is probably the better option. Alright, so Brig spawns in, we're going to stand here. I'm just doing a little bit of a different positioning just to see how the ads sort of react. This is fine where I'm standing, by the way. It's really good. We'll pop a Transcendence. We've got a debuff on that. So our debuff, Echo of Dominance, or whatever it's called, Fragment of Dominance, where you get a debuff via your Void Nade. Transcendence nades are Void. We get a Shielded Bane. It's totally random, of course. Whatever you get, you just play the hand that's dealt. This build can deal with it all anyways. Any Bane at a moment's notice can get demolished, especially by Storm Chaser. Right, so what's going on with Storm Chaser? I ran Queenbreaker's bow before and I was hitting 23k per crit against the Brig. Got it? 23,000. With Storm Chaser I was doing 25k and above. Let's see what the footage says. Let's see what it says. You're going to see it. So, when I seen the damage from Queenbreaker, which by the way is really good, I was like, wait a sec. Storm Chaser's doing 25. Look, 25k per crit. Queenbreaker's only doing 22. So I was like, what is the point in this? Because I was using a legendary Void Bow, the new one. Actually, I actually rather like it. Although it's nowhere near as good as Le Monarch, is it? But I was doing that and the run was getting penalised because of it. Because I was like, what's the point in running Queenbreaker, right, when Storm Chaser basically does more damage than Queenbreaker? In GMs at least. I don't know if Storm Chasers is bugged, right? Now I could do a side-by-side comparison of that, but I want to solo the GM as my main video for today. If I want to make a video about Storm Chaser, maybe tomorrow of the comparison side by side, but it's easy for me to just tell you, no, Storm Chaser's doing more damage per crit, 25k on the Brig in particular. That's where the number stuck out and noticed to me. I noticed it from that. So I was like, well, there's no point running Queenbreaker, although it does stun unstops, it blinds. I was like, well, there's no point wasting an exotic slot, okay, on Queenbreaker, because what's the disadvantage? The disadvantage is that you have a rubbish primary for the GM. And having an exotic primary on for GM, a primary one, is so much more important than running exotic heavy. There's no need to run Queenbreaker because Storm Chaser does everything you would want it to and more. And it's unstoppable fusion, so it does not matter that Queenbreaker stuns unstops, because so does any fusion. So that's what I'm trying to say, and that's why I still recommend an exotic primary in this. The 3 primaries I recommend: Revision Zero, Wish Ender, or Le Monarch, because they hit red bars harder than any other primary, legendary-wise. Legendary primaries, for some reason, in this GM, don't feel good. They feel terrible. And I'm sorry that's the case, but they do. They feel awful. A couple of Void primaries are alright, like the Void Bow's good. The Void Bow's good, but it's not Le Monarch. Alright? Your run will be 10 minutes longer if you don't run an exotic primary. That's exactly what I'm trying to get across to you in this run. Look at this. This is the coolest night kill I've ever done in the game. See that? He get blasted by a Hypernova and I instantly crit him with the bow. Mid-air like that. Right, this is where we stand. Now, if you've watched a Titan run, a lot of the strats will be familiar. It's a familiar route to the Titan run. Okay? The difference is that there's less bolt charges on Prismatic Warlock, but there's Devour. Titan doesn't have Devour, does it? Although Titan's still really good survivability without Devour or not. I'm on about Striker Titan here, not Prismatic Titan. Look, we stand on the tank. This is the tank strat. This is very easy to stand here. Everybody else stands up top. No need. Stand back here, look. Get a turret down, and we're going to use a bit of Tina's, a bit of Le Monarch. We're going to manage Storm Chaser. Look, I'm 11 shots. So I'm starting to, manage it a little bit because I might get one more unstop on the next phase. It is RNG on the next phase. I'll point it out when it comes up on the spawns. There's always 2 unstops here, though. So, look, we're dealing with them easily. We're dealing with them very easily from here. We've got both Super and Transcendence. I'm not going to use it now. I don't need to. Never use it at the back end of a phase. Never. Shriekers are lethal in this. So, we're going to... Yeah, look at that. See that damage they do? That's Void Threat, that is. That's Void Threat. Void Threat's on. That's why I've got a Void Resist on, by the way. 1 Void Resist, 1 Arc Resist, and 1 Concussive Dampener. Okay, any Thrall, kill them. That will spawn in the next phase. Here's the RNG element. You either get 2 barriers, 1 unstop, or 3 barriers. I actually got 3 barriers, which actually worked out good. Because you're going to see now what we end up doing. Because I'm backing up. See the back up there? I'm starting to back up because I'm like... Is it an unstop? No, it isn't. There we go. So look at this positioning. This positioning is critical. This makes it so easy. Watch this. 3 barriers. No problem because we isolate barriers away from other barriers. Look at this. We pop a Transcendence. We're melting our first barrier. 6 Storm Chaser shots left. Boom, there we go. We've got plenty of Tinas. Still Transcendence kicking about. The debuff's working out massively great for us. I didn't even have Radiant on for this run. You know why? Because the fragments I got on actually cook with this build. I'm getting plenty of my ability energy. I've showed the fragments at the start of the video. I'm just saying that I didn't miss not having Radiant. Remember, Radiant got a nerf, 20% buff. Although 20% sizable. But because I've got the Dominance debuff on, I'm getting a damage buff quite notably in this run anyways, like frequently. So it didn't really cost me. Right, here's what's going on with Queenbreaker. If you pick up a heavy ammo pack, you will not get full ammo. You will only get +1 off an ammo pack. Not the heavy brick. Ammo pack should grant full heavy. It's bugged. So that's another reason why I'm not using Queenbreaker or a machine gun. It's bugged on machine guns and a couple of other weapons. I'm not sure. This pack, I'm on about this one. Storm Chaser, for whatever reason, does not bug with it, but Queenbreaker Bow will. And any legendary machine gun will as well. I don't know why. It grants full ammo on Storm Chaser, legendary, and I don't know what other weapons it does, because I haven't really... It's not worth my time to really test a whole host of weapons. I just know what works. But yeah, Queenbreaker Bow does not give you ammo back off a ammo pack. It's bugged. I don't know why it's doing it. Anyways, this room here. Get a turret down and we're going to use a super. Now check what bane you get. I got a Hypernova. That's fine. Let's super him. We don't need to kill Hypernova. He will kill himself. We can tank the damage because we're in a super. This is why we're running Stormcaller, people. This is exactly why we're running Stormcaller. Just look at what it's doing for us. Granted, it's not doing that much damage against the knights, but it's at least doing multi-damage to acolytes and multiple knights at the same time, and it's a low cooldown. Song of Flame takes forever to get back now, although it has done for a while now, but I'm just saying, look, we're halfway to a super while I've been talking to you. See, that's exactly why we're running a Roman super. Now, you could use Winter's Wrath. Here's why you wouldn't want to, though. Stormcaller is better on arc shielded knights because they're arc shielded. Winter's Wrath is a stasis super. That is exactly why I'm running Stormcaller instead. Not only that, the Stormcaller slam does sizable damage now. The slam itself, yes, Stormcaller has a slam. Let's point out when it happens. I pop the Transcendence here. We've got 2 unstops to deal with. We fight at the back of the map like we did on the Titan run. We're multitasking both unstops left and right. You don't need to do this, but I'm just sort of doing it that way. I'm multitasking the room, getting turrets up in mid, multitasking that unstop on left, because that unstop on left is not a priority, really. He isn't really a priority, but middle is. Keeping a good control of middle is a priority. We're going to use a super here. Boom, look at that landslide damage. Whatever it's called, the slam. I don't know what the slam portion of Stormcaller is called anymore. I can't remember the name of it. But whatever that portion of the damage is called, is doing good damage. It's the equivalent of like a Titan Slam. Not T-Crash, Titan Slam. It's like a mini Titan Slam. That's exactly what it is. Right. This wizard, always super wizards. So this is, for every phase where you get a wizard, you super them. That is the golden rule. When you get to final phase, you need to fight at the entrance, not at the back of the map. This will avoid ads teleporting on your location. This room is bugged also. And if you're on final phase, ads will teleport you on your back. I'm sure if you've done LFG runs, you will know this. If you ever stand here on a fire team run LFG, you will know knights teleport on your head. Because they literally do teleport on your head. That is on final phase. We get another set of unstops in. We've still got our back end of Transcendence. We've made the most out of it. We're spamming Transcendence runs, Transcendence abilities in this as much as possible. So as soon as we get it, we use it. As soon as we get it, we use it. We're getting that many. May as well. May as well. It just speeds it up. It just speeds this section up. Okay, that one stops dealt with. Like I say, there's something crazy going on with Stormchaser. So again, I've talked to a lot of people over the last week about you telling me that you don't have Stormchaser. What is that? Why though? Why won't you do duality, people? Can you explain to me why you won't do duality? Because duality is not a problem. I'm trying to figure out why people won't play duality to get Stormchaser, because duality is definitely not harder than Ghost of the Deep. It's definitely not harder than Vesper's Host. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. I guess there's some bugs in duality, right? Is that what's putting people off from doing it? I still highly recommend, if you're not doing anything this weekend, you need to go and do a duality. When it's the pinnacle, you can farm it, I believe, but when it's not, you can't. But that means you can still do 3 clears to get a duality. Even a badly rolled duality, a badly rolled Stormchaser, is so good in the game right now. It's better than all the other arc linears. For example, Salesby Pitch Glass, although that's a good one. That one's a good one, but nowhere near as good as Stormchaser. And what's the other arc linear that people are using? Oh, Line in the Sand. Line in the Sand is good, but it's nowhere near as good as Stormchaser. I've already told you throughout the week why that is the case. Precision frame linears are not as good as adaptive frame linears. That's just literally how it is. That's the meta scaling in the game right now because of particle reconstruction. Use super as much as pos. Look at what it's doing for us. It's not doing that much damage against VIPs. It's just the ad clear that it does, right? It's the control of the room. And I want you to think about supers a little bit differently as well. When we're on our dense GMs, I want to ask you a question here. See if you can get it right. If I run Song of Flame, will I get more super damage with Song of Flame over a 2-minute period? Or would I get more damage with Stormcallers over a 2-minute period of fighting? Now you would say, well, on a super by super basis, that's Stormchaser that wins that. No, it's not. You're wrong. See, you wouldn't get 2 Song of Flames within 2 minutes. Whereas Stormcaller, you could potentially get 3 supers. So technically, Stormcaller would do more super damage overall over a 2-minute basis. And then you can escalate that up and scale that up over to a 40-minute run. How much super damage are you doing in a run with Stormcaller? Well, it's actually substantially more than Song of Flame because you get it 3 times more. So that's what I'm trying to make you think about, is that use Song of Flame wisely, but it isn't always absolutely needed. And because this is a very long-range GM at the boss fight, Song of Flame loses points anyways. So you may as well just run a super like this. Obviously, after every super use, come back to the entrance, get a turret back up, and keep doing it like this. The only reason why we do fight from the entrance on final phase is just so that there's not a lot of ads to teleport on your position. It seems to me, because on phase 3 there is more knights and more acolytes that spawn, there's more chance of teleportation for the ads. It's a trait. Whereas on phase 1 and 2 there's not that many ads. Ads don't teleport on you. It's particularly on the phase 3. That's exactly why I'm saying fight at the entrance. It really doesn't lose you any time either. Look, we're on 16 minutes. So yeah, everything's fine with this run till now. Now we go for the boss fight. So this is exactly why I've got Rhyme Cunt Rhymer on. To counter the boss's passiveness. This is not a fan favourite GM. A lot of people don't like fighting at the boss. Nobody likes him. I mean, maybe some like him. Some people like this boss, some people don't. But I think more often than not, people don't like this boss. So we're going to do a bit of heavy damage here. Then as soon as he puts his barricade up, use your sidearm, because it's got barrier sidearm, so it'll penetrate his shield, see? Then he's going to pop his super. You can be killed by this boss on the stairs. Don't risk it. I would say to you, don't risk it. It's not worth it. He will one-shot you. His shield will one-shot. At least with 1 void resist. I haven't tried double void resist and concussive dampener, but I would say that it would probably still one-shot you. And you want to arc resist on for the Boomer Knights and the Knights, the Boomer Knights and Wizards, and a void resist goes on for the Acolytes. The Acolytes do void, take notice of that. So look, we've got the boss killable. We'll use the super because we're going to get all our ammo and super energy back anyways. So don't be frightened to spam your stuff. You could save Transcendence because you won't get that back. But you can get that back pretty quick. And it's not a mandatory thing. You're not going to be using that much Transcendence uses when you're doing damage at least. Okay, so we want to fight at the back of the map as much as possible. Just to show to you, the viewer, that you can do this on a Warlock and stand at the back of the map and be rather successful. It won't be a quick run or anything. It won't be, but because of how the boss works, like I've said, with his passiveness, you can counter that with the turrets. It changes his AI path, you see. Whereas, as you saw in my time run, I pointed out that the boss was passive for 60 seconds. This is no good. Now, that's because why I'm standing back here, yeah. But what my point is, let's get back to the point. The stasis turret will break him out of that pattern of being passive for 60 seconds. Look, he's being more aggressive. That's good. I want him to fight in mid. That's exactly what I want him to do. So the turret is basically getting that boss out of cover more frequently, which means for us more damage. Now, you can use Storm Chaser, but don't spam it. Make sure that you do have some shots for the unstop. The unstoppable champ phase is critical. It really, really is. We're going to use a super here. Like so. Look at that damage there. Did you see the damage? That's what I was on about with the Warlock Titan Slam portion of the super. Does a lot of damage, it does. Alright, when you're exiting your Stormcaller, be thoughtful and give yourself enough time to get back. Be kind to yourself. Don't overcommit to damage. That is what will get you killed. Another thing, if he suppresses you, he will also one-shot you. The Void Suppressor nades one-shot. There's no way to survive that. Unless you're 2040 power. I guess you are not 2040 power. Somebody somewhere in the world will be 2040 and probably can tank a suppressor grenade, but that isn't you. That's not me either. So follow the rules. When that boss is out of his super, he can do a suppressor grenade, so be careful of it. He has a pattern if you've noticed. He'll do super, 3 shield throws, right? Then he'll pop a barricade. Then he's meant to throw a suppressor grenade if you are within his radius. If you are not within his radius, he skips that part and goes back to popping a barricade and then super again. Yeah? He's got a pattern. Memorize his pattern is what I'm trying to say. It'll help you solo it. Damage is done rather quick. Phase 1 was really good. Phase 1 he behaved. That's exactly how I want him to behave. He worked with me, he cooperated. This is critical. Now why is it critical? Because that aspect is going to beam you as you deal damage to your unstop. So now you need to become cross-eyed and look at the aspect of Savathun to your left. What's the unstop done? Houdini the unstop. What is that? Now he's back. What? I can't keep up on the commentary for this. Look at that damage that Storm Chaser's doing. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with Storm Chaser. It's doing too much damage. And here's a thing as well I'm getting a lot of comments about. People are telling me to run a Void Linear because they need to run Void Surge. No, you've forgot. You go back to drawing board school. Right, let's get the chalk out. What does overcharge? When a weapon has a seasonal artifact, it is overcharged at all times. So you can run any linear that you want of any element. You don't need to run a Void Linear. Although Void Linears are rather good. I'm not saying that though. What I'm saying is run the correct element of the linear for the GM. So for example, Psyops Battleground is an Arc GM, as in Arc Shields. So you want to run Storm Chaser just for that reason alone. If it was a Void GM, as in Void Shields everywhere, then you run a Void Linear. If it's a Solar GM, you run a Solar Linear. You don't need to match the surge because your linear is already overcharged in the first place. Again, this is because of the surge system in the game. It's not explained to anybody, so everybody's confused. I had a handful of comments yesterday saying, Void Linear, why are you not using Void Linear? Why are you using Storm Chaser? Why are you using Storm Chaser? Well, because Storm Chaser's doing the surge damage anyways. You get it for free. The artifact gives you Arc Surge for free. I'll put it to you that way, then it makes sense to you, doesn't it? With the relic section, you need to get a stasis turret up every time you pick up a relic, just about. On the first relic, we're going to speed up the footage for editing purposes, but look at what the turret's doing for me. As you go to mid, rotate that camera, pick up the relic at the same time and go back. This is going to make it consistent so that you do not die. This is the hardest part of the GM. There's no harder part than this. Middle relic is the hardest section. But like I said, follow the rules. The rules are get a turret in mid. That turret freezes the enemies as you go. Oh, look at that bad turret. I'll risk it. I'll risk the 25 minutes and 7 seconds. Look, see? See how we get weaker there? Just a little thing like that, making a slight mistake on turret placement, I got hit a lot harder because less of the ads were frozen. See? Getting that turret in mid is a deterrent. You understand what a deterrent is? It's a deterrent and it'll allow you to get that relic in mid. It'll make it easier for you. Just like what we done on the Titan where we abused the amplify mechanic, we're doing the same thing but in a different way with a stasis turret. We're not getting amplified every time like that, no, but it's acting as a band-aid to easily grab the relic in mid without the risk of dying. Peace of mind. It's a peace of mind and it allows you to pick it up. Right, phase 2, the boss likes to go right every time. I don't know why. And right is the worst place to DPS this boss from. Look, where are we going to do damage to him? Yeah? He does peek round the right-hand side, but you've got to wait 3 calendar months for that. So, what I'm going to do is think to myself on where I can place stasis turrets. Because we're thinking about the viewer a little bit here. I don't want the viewer to have to push up just because the boss is being passive, which that's what he's wanting us to do. Look at the stasis turret placement. Boom, it works. So yeah, get a good stasis turret over there. Remember, the velocity of nades is by momentum. If your Guardian jumps up in the air and then throws a turret, that turret will go a longer distance. The same reason when you sprint and then jump and then throw a grenade, the nade goes even further. All nades. This has been in the game ever, for as long as I've known. It's momentum based. So if you want to get a good nade placement down, right, jump up in the air. Your nade goes further. Look, that's proof. It's proof on the screen, 26 minutes, 35 seconds. Jumping up in the air, getting a good nade, easier. We got a good nade off there. It was decent. So we will keep just doing this over and over. I'm going to place a different stasis turret now because he's trying to counter me a little bit. But yeah, it'll cause him to keep popping his supers as well because he's getting damaged. That's part of his AI directive, is once he gets damaged and he's already done his look at this. Keep an eye on him. I could have wiped there. What caused me to not wipe is crouching. Crouch on this plate. Try to crouch on this plate. Well, don't try. You must, lest you will die to the shield. Because that is a manipulation of the shield. Because we froze it at your location, but if you're behind cover and you crouch, it's going to hit the wall or the structure what you're standing on. If you stand up straight, that shield will actually bypass this platform and hit you and one-shot you. I know because it's happened. Again, there's these golden tips. This GM isn't too bad, but if you don't follow the golden tips, then you will end up coming back to me saying, the boss one-shot me, what's going on? And then you blame me. Then I get blamed for it. Like yesterday. I made my video yesterday, right? I feel a little, victimized a little bit by the system, abused by the system. And all of a sudden it's my fault now. Made a video yesterday, slightly negative. Now it's all my fault. It's my fault movie of the week's rigged. It's all my fault, just blame me. I won't be making another negative vid for a while, but man, yesterday I was creeped out because we went down a couple of rabbit holes in that comment section. Okay, a mixed bag of people. Some people blaming me, some people blaming the system, some people blaming other people, some people doing research, detective research on this and on what that's happened and all this stuff. By the end of the night, I was like, it was like a D2 horror story. I was like sort of freaked out a bit by it. People making assumptions that I use a Cronus extension to cheat. Some people think I'm on PC. This guy asked me he said, I need to do solos on console to prove myself, which is the absolute most craziest comment I've ever heard. I've been on console since 2014. See, that's people making assumptions. Forget about the negative video, right? Forget about that. They're now starting to get it all wrong. When you comment, please back up your stuff and do your research before you do it. If you've said something that's correct, it's correct. But if you're making assumptions like I'm on PC and I need to use a Chronos sim and all this sort of stuff, that is just, I was really creeped out by the end of the night. I will just say that. So yeah, I've said my piece as of yesterday with the video. Despite what people have said, I'm still suspicious. I don't think there's a blacklist. I think there's a golden list, a golden child list. A list that basically anyone on the list gets favourable RNG for promotion. I think there definitely is a golden list. I don't know if there's a blacklist anymore. Maybe you've convinced me that there isn't. But there's definitely a list of content creators that are, yep, he's the golden child. Make sure that we mention his name 3 times in the Bungie live stream. I'll let you work out who it was. 3 times. I was creeped out by that because I was like, is there something going on? Is it a conspiracy? Is it an FBI type thing? What is it? Why just one person 3 times? I'm not telling you who it is. You should already know if you're a D2 expert. You should already know what live stream it was and who was mentioned 3 times, right? Then you should already know it. I'm just saying I was creeped out by that as well. I'm creeped out by a couple of things. It's like a D2. It's like a D2 creepypasta type thing. But yeah, I'll come away from the negative things because I've said my piece, haven't I? And everyone's gangster till I solo, right? Forget about tomorrow. Forget about yesterday. Don't worry about it. We're soloing now, right? You're all right. Don't worry about it. Phase 2, this boss really did take advantage of me. He was hiding a lot. You can fight from left-hand side. There is a chance of death, though. I stand here. If I'm going to stand on left, I stand here because there's actually 0% chance that boss shield can hit me if I stand here. So on left-hand side, this is actually a rather good spot because I started to realise, hang on a sec, the boss is looping to left. Watch this. Watch what the boss does. At the time of the run, look, boom, DPS location. I know he puts his barricade up, that's fine, but look, he's actually behaving himself. So on another run, I'm going to stand here more frequently because look at what he's doing there. He behaved. All because of that slight alteration of positioning from the tower to the base floor made all that difference. He looped all the way around to the left, and I can guarantee you he'll only do that if you go to where I stood, because I've played this GM enough to know what he does and what he doesn't. And that's one trait that I've never seen him do that in that particular way. So that's a good DPS location when you want to hurry up with the damage on this boss. Right, we're 33 minutes in. The boss is basically done. We're going to try and make sure we send him, because we're actually starting to lose time because of this. Look, we miss a couple of shots, I think. The boss is sendable. Look at that. What is he doing? That's a shame, that as well, because I don't want to waste my turret because we've got an ogre to kill yet. See, on the next phase, there is an ogre. We need to kill that ogre. We need to have a turret up for that ogre. So I don't want to use it now. There we go. We send him. That's it. That was annoying that he's 99% to the next threshold. It always is the case with me. Always. Okay. This is also a little bit of a critical moment. That ogre needs to be killed. I get a zealous ogre, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you believe that I would? Of course I would. Bear in mind, they're 35% stronger for HP. This zealous Bane has 35% more HP than a standard ogre. So now I'm what's the word? That's against me, then, because of a silly Bane as an ogre. This is exactly another prime example of why randomized Banes don't work. We want structured Banes, and I've spoken to some of the best players in the world from all different countries, and there is a common thing that they're all saying. Structured Banes, fixed rotation Banes are far better than randomized Banes, because randomized Banes offer randomized results that sometimes penalizes the player too heavily. Now, this isn't even as bad as it can get. You can get a healing wizard and then you're done. Then what? Then he's pressurizing the player in the wrong ways, because that wizard's hiding. Where's the wizard? Where's the wizard? You go and look for the wizard kills you. Then you become salty, you knock the PlayStation or your PC off. You then lost time because of it, because you got a stupid healing bin. Now, if we knew we was going to get a healing bin in the first spot, we can build craft for that. See what I'm on about? This is what I'm on about with the structured bins. This is now becoming more of a topic now, where I'm going to probably going to make a video about it in the end on exactly why it's true. It benefits speedrunners if there's fixed bins, because they can speedrun plan for it. It benefits casual players if there's fixed banes, because there's a sense of mastery with it. They will get better with the banes over and over. They can make every bane a healing bane if they want. As long as we know about it, it's fine. Obviously, that wouldn't be... I'm just saying that the type of bane isn't the issue. It's when we get them and how we get them. That's exactly what I'm on about. And And I'm saying I've spoke to a lot of players that solo GMs and they all say the same. So a lot of casual players seem to think that people who solo GMs just want the game to be more difficult in the most absurd ways. And that's actually false. A lot of solo GM players just want to get their runs a little bit quicker. They don't want to be spending 55 minutes on a run. And speedrunners don't want to spend an extra 5 minutes on a run neither. They want to reduce that time down to as low as they can. So anything in the game that allows them to do a speedrun quicker, they will want, because that is how a speedrunner thinks. Rightly so, they're going for world records, they're being competitive. See? Banes goes against all of that. It goes against every single player in the game. So, having structured Banes so that it's a level playing field for everybody, because you could come into my comments and say, I done exactly what you did, but I got a shielded ogre, he screwed my entire run up. What do I do about it? So what do I say to you about it? I got lucky, you got unlucky. I have to say, well, you have to redo your run again, and hopefully you get maybe more favourable Banes. See? That's what I'm on about. You need level playing fields in GMs. I also think they need to go back to minus 25 fixed GMs. I think now doing minus 40 GMs, no good. I think being minus 20 delta is no good. And having to level up for GMs is no good either. We need to go back to the old system of minus 25 delta for GMs regardless of your power level. You just minus 25, that's it. Because that's more of a level playing field. Because trust me, a minus 40 GM delta and a minus 25 delta are very similar. I know because I've done them both. Minus 40, minus 25, same delta. It's similar delta. There is some things that are more consistently going to kill you on a minus 40. Yes, that's also true. But I've tested every single delta now. Well, not every single delta, have I? I've tested minus 20 delta, minus 25 delta, minus 40 delta, minus 60 delta, minus 80 delta, and minus specifically 91 delta and 96 delta. So I actually know every single delta that I've tested. So I know about this topic. We need to go back to level playing field GMs, go back to minus 25 delta. That was what the identity of a GM is anyways. And we should not be allowed to get a GM minus 20. So if you get a 2040 power, you can be 20 under-leveled. And then the GM starts to feel like a Master Nightfall. Or even a Legend Nightfall if you run a certain build. Like prismatic builds like Titan and stuff. Even Prismatic Hunter to a degree. So that's what I'm saying. Let's go back. The system's kind of like, yeah, not quite right. People are confused on what power levels we can actually run GMs at. I know, because I've had the comments all about it. I'm dealing with it on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. What power level is the minimum you can do a GM? Can I do this at 2025? All these questions. And all those questions will be eliminated if the game just said, right, when you start up the GM, you will be minus 25 and that is it, regardless of your power level. GMs should not have any bearing of power levels in it at all. Because the GM is meant to be the challenge in the game. Right? But providing a level playing field is something that they should be doing. Rather than allowing people to over-level them. Not over-level them, but over-level them as opposed to what we used to do, yeah? It was minus 25, now it's minus 20. Possible. I don't think most people are even aware of these mechanics. But I'm just saying how it is, because I have to know about this, because I have to make my business to know about it. Because that's what I'm making content on primarily at this minute. Look at how good the Stasis turret is doing for us here. He really did take advantage of us on phase 2, but phase 1 and 3, not too bad. We haven't got much ammo left, but look at the nades. With the Transcendence, we're dragging him in. Now look at how he starts to freak out. I've never seen him do this either. He freaks out and he goes to left. And he pops a super. That's fantastic. I want him to pop supers. If he pops a super and you crouch, you're getting more damage in, look. I wish he was just more like this more frequently, but I can tell you, Rhymecoat Rymant has forced the boss out of cover more frequently than any other build. And it'd probably be best in slot for this, on Warlock at least. That's exactly why I ran Rhymecoat. I wanted to run Getaway Iced, But Getaway Artist, the turret's no good on Getaway Artist for range, is it? So if you need to fire a 50 meter stasis turret, Getaway Artist does not work, does it? Because you cannot place turret. Rhymecoat Rhymer allows you to place the turret with stasis icicles at a 50 meter radius. Maybe more if you do the technique of the run and jump. Yeah? So that's exactly what we're on about. That's why we didn't run Getaway Artist. I wanted to for free amplified. It's just that Getaway Artist is not suited to this GM. It is for up and to the boss, but when you get to the boss, it's not suited at all. Yeah? Whereas Rhymecoat's kind of suited for all of it. So we just go with Rhymecoat. That's giving you the distinction there. So we've got a super and we're just going to kill the boss, basically. And make sure that you crush the ghost while you're in your super so that you do not die. That's a wipe. That could be a wipe, couldn't it? You kill the boss, you feel good, and it's, oh, I need to crush the ghost, you need to run there. If you don't have a super, you might die on the way. Yeah? And imagine losing your run just because of that. It would be really annoying to you. You would rage quit, knock your PS5 off, knock your PC off. You would come back in an hour and be like, I'll run it again, but I was upset about what just happened. Don't let that allow that to happen at all. Have a plan in place. That's exactly why we're using this. Now, if you were running Song of Flame, you just pop that. You would just pop Song of Flame and kill him with that. So yeah, that's the boss dealt with, done. That's the run for Warlock. Really good up into the boss. First phase was really good. Phase 2 was sketchy. Boss took ages. Very passive. But yeah, that was a run on this with Rhymecoat. Worked pretty well. Remember, I think there's some bug going on with Storm Chaser. It's doing exotic damage or even more damage than Queenbreaker per shot. So look, you need to get a Storm Chaser this season. It's very important. You just need to go in duality and do it. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.